Coming up on MCTV this week, Monmouth College again reaches the 99% placement rate, and a Holocaust survivor shares her experience while visiting on campus. This week starts next. Hello and welcome to MCTV this week. For Alistair Ramsey, I'm Tori Philbin. 2015 marks the third consecutive year that Monmouth College places 99% of its recent graduating class in the workforce or graduate school. 80% of last year's graduates responded to the survey. If they reported being employed either full-time or part-time or enrolled in graduate school 6 months after graduation, they were considered to be placed.
It's based off of who they've pulled because although they say that they've only pulled like 80% of students, it's because those students aren't turning their stuff back in. So, I mean, if the greater majority of a graduating class is like 99%, those are still pretty good odds no matter what the case is.
I think it's a number we should be very proud of as a college community, that we can claim a number like that and back it up, quantify that number, and say that our student success rate is due to the environment that our students learn to succeed in here at our school.
Assistant Director of the Wackerly Career and Leadership Center, Stephanie Kincaid, considers a primary reason for this rate is that students are becoming more proactive in their job search.
They're reading our newsletters, they're making alumni connections, and they're getting out there and searching for jobs earlier than in past years.
Internships are also a key point to landing a career. 76% of the class of 2014 received at least one internship experience, which is above the national average of 61.
It really teaches students soft skills, which is what employers are searching for. So, the employers are willing to train employees, but they want them to have the communication skills, the analytical thought, the problem solving, which is what doing an internship can actually provide them.
Kincaid says that first job may not be your dream job, but your first job can lead to bigger and better things.
I don't want students to think that those jobs are not worth anything. They are, because employers can see that you've worked, especially in retail, worked with diverse populations, maybe with difficult people, and also you've learned a lot of problem solving skills. And I guarantee that 6 to 9 months down the road, there will be better things coming.
The continued high placement rate is a factor in the college's number 15 spot on the list of colleges that add the most value to last fall's Money magazine.
Holocaust survivor Inga Arbacher relived her childhood stories with the Monmouth College community. Arbacher presented a slideshow of snapshots from the past. She discussed her life before, during, and after the Holocaust. Living in the village of Kippenheim, Germany, she saw division of Jews and Christians at an early age. She showed the very Star of David she wore on her coat as a young Jewish girl. In detailing her experience in the prison of the Theresienstadt concentration camp, Arbacher spoke about being covered in lice for months to sleeping on soiled mattresses with another child prisoner. Despite the adversity she faced, she never lost what she described as her father's optimism. Currently a resident in Queens, she called the most diverse place in the country, Arbacher lives in a community of Muslims, Hindus, and Christians, fully appreciative of the diversity of prayer surrounding her daily life. Arbacher took audience questions at the end of the talk and sold and signed copies of her book, I Am a Star.
Well, you can overcome a great deal in life. I overcame the torture of the Holocaust and also the torture of getting a horrible disease like tuberculosis, where there was no cure for many years. And I had the good luck. It was like 2 miracles in my life to stay alive from the torture of these terrible years in concentration camps, of where I had the death sentence. And I had the death sentence again with this terrible disease. And up comes the discovery of a tremendous antibiotic. And I met the man who was the co-discoverer of streptomycin that saved my life. So I had 2 huge miracles in my life.
Arbacher spoke as part of ASAP's Human Experience series.
Students, faculty, and city residents came together in CSB to discuss important issues in Syria. During the event, the International Club stressed the importance of taking part in helping Syrian refugees by sharing a video on the issues. Then political science major Adam Johnson led a discussion on what Monmouth students can do to help
The
these
biggest
refugees.
issue right now is with the kids, because that's like the major priority of the international club. We are really focusing on the children because just recently there was a winter storm and most of the kids don't even have clothes or footwear to wear, and that's what we want to really fundraise for.
If you're interested in joining the International Club, they meet on Saturdays at 3 in the Intercultural House.
Is Monmouth College considered a drinking school? Professionals Luke Raymond and Dr. Frank Lazala discuss the various factors that can contribute to high numbers of students drinking on college campuses. Two of the factors were environmental and individual factors, such as the cold weather around the campus causing students to drink out of boredom or personal problems with a student. They also explain the procedures that are necessary to follow when a friend is intoxicated. These include placing them in a fetal position on their side and staying with them in the emergency room so the doctors can get information about them. Some suggestions for students' safety while drinking were also brought up, such as spacing out drinks and having a designated driver. Afterwards, Raymond gave students some tips to help them with alcoholism.
Get help, like Dr. LaSalle mentioned during the presentation. There are a huge number of 12-step programs, Alcoholics Anonymous, available. Get an assessment from a qualified individual. Talk to someone you trust, a friend, family member, clergy member, anyone who you may feel could help point you in the right direction.
This lecture was sponsored by MC Wellness and Alpha Tau Omega.
A local doctor came to campus to discuss this disease and disease prevention. Dr. Wahid Royin from OSF spoke about common diseases such as breast cancer, lung cancer, diabetes, and heart disease, and what screenings we should have, how often we should have them, and at what age. He spoke about how smoking is a major risk factor for heart disease, which is the leading cause of death in the U.S.
It is actually a risk factor for almost every disease you can think of in a common sense way. The problem is that smoking is not actually, quitting is not easy. And the reason for that is the modified genes of the tobacco that makes you more addicted.
This event was also sponsored by MC Wellness and Alpha Tau Omega.
Educator and poet Allison Joseph was on campus to give a short poetry reading. Allison Joseph, a professor and poet who currently teaches at Southern Illinois University Carbondale, showed Monmouth students and faculty her many talents at a poetry reading in Mellinger. She organized the poems in a unique way to teach the young writers of Monmouth how to perform an engaging poetry reading.
Just meeting students at all sorts of universities and colleges and seeing the excitement of people who are beginning to write themselves, that's a really special time in someone's life when they've decided to risk it, because it's a risky thing. There's no guarantee that you'll be successful at it. There's a lot of failure involved. There's a lot of falling down and picking yourself back up. So it's an exciting thing to be a part of that.
The English department hosts poetry readings every month. Next reading will be in Mellinger on March 23rd and 24th with special guests Susanna Childress and Dave Harity.
MC students and the public were invited to come to Gospel Explosion and celebrate Black history in the Doll Chapel. The program began with singing from the audience to lift every voice and sing. From gospel singing, dancing, and Bible trivia, the event celebrated rich gospel traditions. Seniors were honored at the event, and alumni Raven Robinson returned to perform with the group One Accord. The Intercultural Life and Colorful Voices of Praise sponsored this event.
Taking a look at some events on campus this week. Tonight's Great Decisions lecture takes a look into the future. Learn about human trafficking in the 25th century at 7:30 in CSB 276. Take a break from midterms and play games at ASAP's Late Night Casino Edition at 8 in Scotland Yard. And Friday is exam day for all half-semester classes. There will be no classes for full semester classes. Classes resume on March 16th.
Coming up next in sports. It's been 16 years since the Scots have made the playoffs We'll look at how they prepared and have the highlights for you next. The women's basketball team took on Illinois College for senior night. Though the Scots did not win the tip, they did start the game off with the first bucket from Paige Nord. Solid defense forced turnovers, leading to buckets from both Tiffany Churchill and Emily Watkins, and after a slow start, the Scots widened the gap, which Illinois College could not overcome. Monmouth topped IC 72-63. And the Scots finished this season with a 10-13 record. And since 1999, the Fighting Scots men's basketball team hasn't played in the Midwest Conference Tournament. That is, until this year.
For the first time in 16 years, the Scots get ready for a postseason game. This year, the Scots were picked to finish 7th in the Midwest Conference coming into the season, and as the playoffs begin, they are the number 2 seed.
We've been working for quite a while to get this opportunity. You know, obviously we would have liked it if it would have happened a year earlier, but this has always been the plan, and guys have, you know, stuck to the plan and worked extremely hard, both in season and out of season.
The tournament may be new water for the Scots, but they prepare for a Grinnell team they have played twice already this season. The Scots split with Grinnell during the season, but they want to treat this game just like any other.
Same approach, you know, it's the next game on the schedule. You know, so we're you know, this team hasn't really gotten too high or too low all season long. They've been fairly focused, you know, from start to finish. So, you know, it's the next game on the schedule, and we're taking that type of approach with it.
The Scots traveled to number 1 seed St. Norbert, and they kept Grinnell close the whole game with 15 minutes to go. Riley Blee finishes the layup, giving the Scots their biggest lead of the game at 61-55. And a little later, Scots clinging to the lead. Reed Goodbread gets open for the slam, Monmouth by 4. Scots now down by 1 with a minute and a half to go. Then Grinnell's Julian Marks buries a 3, and 30 seconds later, Marks gives the Scots the final blow with another 3, and the Scots exit the tournament early. Final score 98-89.
Despite the first round loss, the Scots turned around their 6-17 record from a year ago to an amazing 17-6 record this year, and they return all of their starters from this season, giving them a bright future. And baseball season is just around the corner. Next week, Monmouth College men's baseball heads to Fort Myers, Florida for a spring break round robin. Last year, the Scots finished their spring trip at 3-4 and an overall season record of 16-18. The Scots teams look a little different this year with much more depth at every position. 6 pitchers return as sophomores for the 2015 season, including all Midwest Conference starting pitcher Austin Hardy. The infield returns 2-time starting shortstop in Brandon Haroon, with a load of backups at third, second, and first as well. Outfield much of the same, with Alex Kimmer returning to center.
But this year, I think we're a lot more experienced. We have some sophomores that will step up that got a lot of playing time last year as freshmen, so I think we should come back 6-2 or better this year.
The Scots have their work cut out for them with 8 games in just 7 days, and when they return from Florida, they will take on Iowa Wesleyan on March 18th. And with spring break just only a few days away, the Fighting Scots softball team also prepares to go to Florida and start their season.
The Scots' 21-win season last year was just one shy of the school record. This season, the Scots head to Claremont, Florida to start another quest at the school record and to get away from the snow and the ice.
I guess we're just kind of going down there to see where we rank among other teams and kind of see what it's like to be actually on a field rather than indoors. Practicing inside for 8 weeks is a little difficult to kind of see how realistic things are. The ball doesn't move the same way. It bounces hard off the ground. So kind of place ourselves and see what people can do outside rather than indoors.
Only 3 seniors returned to the lineup for the Scots, and fortunately for them, they are 3 of the best pitchers in the Midwest Conference.
I'd say the strengths we have are pitching. We have one of the best pitching staffs in the conference, and we work together well as a team.
Alyssa Edler returns as the only player with all-conference honors, striking out 70 hitters last season. Fellow senior Skylar Johnson is coming off her best season, finishing with a 6-3 record. With pitching under wraps, Coach Goddard turns his focus to hitting.
We are definitely younger than we've been in the past 3 years, which gives us a little more, let's say, youthful enthusiasm, but it also, I'm missing about 18 home runs that I had last year due to graduation, so those are always hard to replace. We'll replace them with a lot of singles and doubles, more base running, and that versus the long ball.
The Scots have not won the Midwest Conference Championship since 1987, and they start their season on Saturday in Florida against Fitchburg State College. That's it for sports. Here are your scores for this week.
This week, a former anchor and a current admissions rep for MC returns with an anniversary message. 2012 graduate, Gabrielle Shirley.
Set of codes is part of the mayor's plan to enhance property values and also increase the beautifyingness of Monmouth. Sorry. Okay, sorry.
Did you think that?
That my thing again?
Just do your tag, Gabby, just the end.
Yeah. The Monmouth Corral will be hosting more fundraising.
We just start talking out.
Easy.
I'm going. I'm like a locomotive today. Chris says go. I say how high. How far?
Hi MCTV, happy anniversary. I so enjoyed being an anchor when I was a student at Monmouth College. We always had so much fun together. My favorite memories are always the bloopers that we created on the set. One of my most infamous memories was when I said beautifyingness instead of beautification on live TV. I look forward to seeing what the next 10 years holds for MCTV. Congratulations.
That's it for MCTV this week. I'm David Bidle.
I'm Alistair Ramsey. Thank you for tuning in for another installment of MCTV.
And I'm Tori Philbin. You can also visit us on the web at monmouthcollege.edu/MCTV. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time, and have a great spring break.